everybody. So I last night I finished The Magician's Lamb by Leave Gruzman. I had to get my feelings out as soon as I could possibly put a camera in my face about how I feel about this book, but not and how I feel about the series in general. And then I think I might do a video on the first season. I don't think with it expiring in like the couple of days, I don't think we're gonna finish season 2. But I was reading this with my boyfriend, and my boyfriend was like, "We should watch the show." And then we found out that they're taking it off of Netflix on January 13th. So we're like, yeah, that's not gonna happen. But anyway, these are semi-spoiled filled. I jumped through just my feelings on it. This was my least favorite one. The ending did not land for me whatsoever. I think this was a better portrayal about grief and what grief does to the human mind. If you take this book that way, I liked it a lot more, even though what happens at the end kind of defeats that meaning of this book. And I also do like that he had Plum, and she seems like she's bipolar or something. She does talk like she has like manic episodes and stuff, which would be bipolar. And like this author to me is probably underrated for the fact of how well he does mental illness and that stuff. He does such a good job with these characters and showing the effects of using magic to portray these like really dark illnesses that people can get. Like addiction. He deals with depression, with Quinnen a lot, and then he deals with grief. He deals with bipolar. Does such a good job. But this is we start with Quinnen. He's not in Fillory anymore. He's been kicked out. He becomes a professor at Break Bills, which is like the easiest school to get kicked out of. I swear everybody's getting kicked out. And he is there trying to save Alice. Alice is she is like an undead creature because she overused her magic. I can't remember what they're called. Maybe it says at the end, guys. Sorry, guys. Well, I can't remember. It might come back to me. But that's kind of why he went back to Break Bills. He's now a professor, so he teaches a class, gets in trouble, gets kicked out. That's where we're with Quinnen. Like, and he is on a journey to save Alice. Now, Alice, to me, and this is where I'm going to kind of bring in the TV show a little bit. Their relationship, Quinnen and Alice's relationship in the TV show is way better than it is in the books. I don't know how they did it in the TV show so well, but I don't know if it's like actors' chemistry. Like the same stuff still happens. Quinnen still cheats on her, and he doesn't look, good in her eyes still. Like she makes such really good like her commentary in this, to kind of spoil it, is he is able to bring her back. Now, when it comes to Alice, like, she's a good character. I love her character. She's probably the only likable character in this whole thing. And I'm talking about like I love Elliot and I love Janet Um, I like them. I like their personalities, but they're not likable characters. Like, they have a lot of issues that they need to work out. They're just kind of comic relief in this book. So it's just, you have that. But when it comes to like a genuine good character that's trying to do as good for humanity, especially when you get like later on in the first book after she is not able to save her brother, Alice is like the best character. And Quinnen says that throughout all three books. Like, Alice had like the best soul and everything else. And that is even more portrayed better in the show. Like, the show did such a good job with some of the issues I had with this book when it came to romantic relationships. But Fillory, okay, so then we go over to Elliot and Janet. Fillory is dying. So they're trying to do that. Quinnen's trying to save Alice. Pretty much like the last quarter of this book is crazy. And there's part of me that would like to say, like, he could have stuck with a trilogy. Part of me would like it to be extended to 4 books. But at the same time, I don't know what you would do like for another book. Like another whole book. Like, what would we be doing? Unless we did like this is like a novella and then going forward, so like dealing with all the Quinnen and Alice stuff and then having book 4 like with all the Fillory stuff. Yeah, I mean, you could write it that way. I felt like the 4th was a little fast paced, especially when Alice does come back and them trying to rekindle their relationship. I do respect Quinnen that he doesn't rush getting to know Alice again. It's been 7 years. Like, you need to give the woman some time, and he does. I don't know if they ever get fully back together. Like, that's kind of a lingering thought at the end. Like, do they, it's kind of a little bit of a happily ever after because pretty much the gang gets back together. They save Fillory. Like, Quinnen becomes a god, which is kind of obnoxious. I don't like that trope. I like the god's trope. But yeah, he ends up giving back the power to the land. The land is prosperous. They save the day, which I don't know. I don't know if I like that ending or not. It's with how dark this series gets, because it gets really, really dark. I wouldn't have minded it ending in turmoil in some ways. And him not being able to save Alice, and he's haunted by Alice forever. And I know I like thinking about the Venus ending for these characters, and but just like the themes of this book, I think it would have been better if it ended in a darker note, or if it ended in like, I want it to end. Like, I don't think this is a series that would be appropriate to have an ambiguous ending. Now, if, we're worried about Alice and Quinnen getting together, that's, like, not something, like, they end it with, Quinnen being able to create his land, Alice goes with him. So you assume that they're probably going to be a couple down the line, and they're probably going to spend the rest of their lives together. That's like what you're assuming at the end. To me, based off of kind of Quinnen's personality, does he deserve his happy ending? I mean, yes and no. I mean, I think he deserves, if Alice wants to give him that forgiveness and they build the trust back, like, it could be a really good relationship at the end. And that's kind of what they show in the show. Am I mad at him? Of course. I don't think you're supposed to like these characters. Like, I don't think you're supposed to like Quentin. Like, I saw a short the other day, like, somebody saying, like, I don't like Quentin through this whole show. I don't think you're supposed to. I don't think the author was, like, writing a character like, oh, yeah, you're supposed to like this character. No. He cheats within the first book. Yeah. You're not supposed to like him. And then you have Janet that's just, she's just terrible to be terrible. She just says it how it is, which can be always terrible, but she does say some hurtful comments to everybody. And then you have Elliot, that's, I mean, the party boy. So there's some stuff that, like, he even does that to me is not completely right. So, I mean, throughout this whole thing, I'm like, okay, like, obviously, if you fall in love with these characters, it's just because they're funny. They're fun to be, like, they're not fun in the head to be around. Like, I noticed that with Janet and Elliot kind of being a little further back and not going more in depth with their mental health, even though you get to hear Janet's kind of trauma. But being in the head of Quentin is not a lovely place to always be. Like, he's very egotistical. Like, he's very much, magic is the only thing. Like, and he's sad boy. Which I know he has depression, like they say that in the first book, but it's a very hard head to be in. And I think the author really does a good job, because I can imagine. Like, without having, like, depression myself, like it being difficult for me to read through Quentin's point of view is actually not, like, an insult to the writing at all. I think it's very important that, we don't want to be in his head, because he doesn't even want to be in his own head. So showing that when it comes to the writing and stuff, I think he does a really good job. I haven't read his newest book. I don't think he has any more books besides this and his new King Arthur. He does the urban fantasy stuff really, really well. Like, his characters in the urban fantasy, like when they're in school and stuff, are really well done. When they get into Fillory is kind of when I think it goes downhill for me. So I don't know of how I would feel about a whole book that's kind of in that medieval setting, like with, princes and princesses and, like, knights of the round table. I don't know, like, if that's something that would be enjoyable. And it's a very big book. It's a very thick book. So I think I'm going to probably lower down my TBR. That will be something I'll probably pick up, like, when it's on sale. No offense to the author at all. I just noticed, like, he's really good urban fantasy. Like, if this man writes another urban fantasy series, like, I will pick it up in 2 seconds, hardback. Don't even ask me questions. Because to me, even if I take all my ratings, which the first book was 5 stars, the second book is like a 4.5, this is a 4. So even if I average that all out, let's say it's like a 4.5, I didn't hate it. I didn't hate my time with it. Was it slow in parts? Oh yeah. Like, there is it was a slog to get through a lot of this third book. And that's some of the reason why I'm, like, lowering it, because I feel like we went back to book 1 and we're only in a trilogy. Like, that's why I'm, like, wondering if there should have been, like, a 4th book. But he ends it. Like, Now, could we go back to these characters? Yeah. I mean, they're all living, like, they all made it out okay. Like, we could go back. And maybe he will, maybe he won't. A lot of authors are going back to their old series, so there is a possibility. If the other book doesn't do well, which I'm hoping. He got nominated, I think, for the Goodreads Choice Awards, and stuff like that. So I'm hoping his new book's doing good. But yeah, I want him to go back to more of a modern urban fantasy. But I just don't think urban fantasy is popular as, I know this is the third book, but when did this come out? Oh yeah, actually this came out in 2014. Or it could be like the paperback version, but I don't know. It says 2014. I don't know. Um but yeah, I mean, he could possibly come back to these characters. And we could have a resurgence of the series. Um I don't know if I really want one. No. I think I want him to like explore all brand new characters. Um I wouldn't even mind if he did like Plum, maybe her story. If he actually wrote the fillery books, even though I really don't want that, but like that, those are some directions like I could see the author going with, or he could just write a whole brand new series, which is what I want. I'm kind of done with these characters. I need some new ones. But I don't know. We'll see if I get to that. I have a lot of books on my 25 books of 2025. I do not believe this was on it. It might have been. If it was, go me for reading something off that list already, and we're so close to the beginning of the year. But I know Malice is on there. Malice is going to be read soon. But a couple of just videos to look forward to is I have a when this goes up, you'll probably already see the Spy Family review, the Persona 6 to Atlas, that review on Thursdays, and then we're going to have kind of like our typical reviews. The last book is up on my channel already, so if you wanted to know my reviews on the second one, there's a Lumacrate video coming up real soon. So we got some goodies here, but I am hoping a couple of videos I'm thinking about doing is the Library Save Me Money. I kind of want to do a couple, like, do that throughout the year. I'm not gonna put like a guarantee on myself to keep that going because I have such a big physical TBR. But when I feel like going to the library and getting some books, like, I think it would be cool to kind of know like how much money I would be saving, especially not having to buy all this. I had a pretty big haul. I had four manga volumes and I think like four novels. So I have cookbooks too, but we don't need cookbooks are fine. I wouldn't even know how to start reviewing a cookbook. But yeah, that might be fun to go through and see if there's anything I would have bought if I wasn't, didn't rent it from the library, but we'll see. But otherwise, thank you for coming. Thank you for all the support on these last 3 books. I know these are long videos. Even if you stick around for 5 minutes just to kind of get the overall, I do appreciate it. I'm hoping to finish more series so we can have like more full series reviews and stuff like that. That is one of my main goals for this year, is not only to finish the physical TBR, but to read more series, interact with more series, and to get that down as well, and not just my own TBR, but to do that as well. But otherwise, you guys have a lovely rest of your day, and I will see you real soon with the next one. Bye.